Welcome back to the deep dive. This time we're diving into Garden State, and it sounds like this one really left a mark on you, especially back in the day when you were finding your own musical voice.
Yeah, it's one of those films, isn't it? Kind of sticks with you.
Totally. So we're gonna unpack that, and I think, right off the bat, we got to talk about that soundtrack. I mean, it's practically a character in itself, like that opening scene. Sam's introducing Andrew to the Shins, new slang, so good.
It's more than just a cool song, though. I mean, New Slang, it was huge. Like a whole generation looking for something real. And it fits so well with where Andrew is at emotionally, numb, stuck, yearning for something more. The music becomes this metaphor for, like, his entire journey.
It totally does. And speaking of Andrew's emotional state, this film goes there. Like, really tackles mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, that scene with the therapist, Dr. Cohen, right?
Yeah.
When he says that thing about the medications, like,
I'm in no position to comment.
yes. Like, he doesn't give a simple answer.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the point, right? Mental health is complex.
Absolutely. And it was kind of groundbreaking for the time. Not a lot of films were dealing with this stuff so directly. So, I don't know, thoughtfully.
And it makes you think, too. Like, it's not just about whether to take meds or not. It's about figuring out your own path, finding your voice, which that reminds me of that whole bit with Sam when she talks about feeling unoriginal.
You know what I do when I feel completely unoriginal?
Yes, and she's like, make a noise. So good.
It's about embracing those weird, quirky parts of yourself, especially when it comes to being creative. And it makes me think that really resonated with you back then, right? When you were first starting to make music.
For sure. It's like
Yeah.
Garden State gave you permission to just go for it. Don't overthink it. Which kind of ties into that whole other theme of just like being present.
Living in the moment.
Yes. Remember when Sam says to Andrew, like, you're in it right now, aren't you?
Such a simple line, but so profound.
Right. It's like a wake-up call. And in a way, isn't that kind of what we're doing now, revisiting this film?
Yeah.
Like tapping back into those feelings?
Totally. But we're also bringing all these new experiences to the table. It's like a layered thing, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of layers, we can't forget about like the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
The love, the loss, that scene with Andrew and his father at the grave. Ugh, gets me every time.
It's powerful. And the way they use color in that scene, all muted, washed out, it adds this whole other level to the emotion.
I've never even noticed that. See, that's what's so great about this deep dive. You pick up on new stuff, and those little details, they pack a punch. Like when Andrew says that line about his mom,
Yeah.
the necklace, the memory.
This is love. This is love.
Man, just thinking about it.
It's heartbreaking, but it also reveals so much about the relationship. All that complexity, the love and the grief all tangled up together.
And isn't it interesting how the film doesn't shy away from that? Like, even when Sam's talking about life, she's just like, yeah, I know, but that is life. Sometimes it heffing hurts.
It's honest, right? Like it's acknowledging the tough stuff, but not letting it drag you down.
It's like, it's okay to feel it all, which I feel like that just hits harder as you get older.
Oh, for sure. Life throws some curveballs, that's for sure. And it makes those raw, messy emotions, they become even more relatable.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting, too, how the film uses humor, like as a way to deal with all the heaviness.
Totally. Like Sam, for example, right? All
Yeah.
her little quirks. It's kind of her armor, but it's also what makes her so real.
It's like a defense mechanism, but with a wink.
Yeah.
And you kind of see Andrew pick up on that, too. It's like she helps him unlock that part of himself.
Right. He goes from being all like shut down emotionally to actually finding the humor in things.
Totally. And their whole dynamic, it really shows the power of being vulnerable, like letting your guard down, which is scary, but also necessary.
100%. If you want real connection, you got to take that risk. And
Yeah.
it's not just romantic relationships either. The film touches on that with family too, like Andrew and his dad.
Oh, yeah. Oof, that scene at the airport. Talk about a punch to the gut.
So much baggage there, and that hug, it's like a release, but it doesn't erase everything.
Exactly. There's no easy fix. And that's real, too. Family stuff can be messy.
It can be the messiest. But that longing for connection, for acceptance, it's universal.
It really is.
Mhm.
And that's what Garden State gets right, I think. It reminds you that everyone's kind of going through it in their own way.
We're all just figuring it out as we go. And sometimes the most profound insights, they come from embracing that. The vulnerability, the messiness, the whole shebang.
And that's the thing about revisiting a film like this, right? Like, it hits different as an adult. You bring all your own baggage.
It's like a whole new layer gets added.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, thinking back to when you first saw Garden State way back when, what were your big takeaways?
Honestly, for me, it was that feeling of like, oh, it's not just me, you know?
Yeah.
Seeing those characters deal with real stuff, relationships, family drama, it kind of normalized those feelings.
And now, has your perspective shifted at all?
I think I appreciate the film's like subtlety more, the way it handles tough topics like mental health. It's not about easy answers, it's about the journey. And creatively, it's still a good reminder to stay true to your own vision, even if it's a little out there.
Love that. So it's like Garden State's become this kind of touchstone for you.
In a way, yeah,
Yeah.
like a reminder of those core values.
It's funny how certain films can do that. Stick with you.
It's true, and it makes me think about that final scene at the airport when she says, "This is the beginning of something really big," you know?
Ooh, yeah.
It's hopeful, but also kind of uncertain, just like life.
Right. The good and the bad, all
Hmm.
mixed up together. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into Garden State.
Hope you enjoyed the ride.
We sure did. And hey, listener, if this sparked any new insights for you, maybe a favorite quote or scene, we'd love to hear it. Hit us up on social media. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time.